What's happening, y'all? It's Brad. Thanks for listening, sharing, and supporting our show. And I'm so proud to announce that we've got 2 new avenues for you to support. So check the show notes because there's 2 links in there. One is for seekjesus.co. It's a faith-based apparel company, and they've got some awesome options to choose from. If you use the code HATTENIN, you'll save 15% off your order. And any order $75 or greater, you'll get free shipping as well. The second link is for those of you that are thinking about starting a podcast, or maybe you have one, but you're looking to monetize it, you're on another distributor, whatever the case may be. We've been using Spreaker since day one. And what I love about Spreaker is that there's no secret tiers for you to reach to start making money. You can start earning from your very first episode. So check the links to get started. Thanks so much for the love, and let's start the show. All right, y'all ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Ashley, do you remember how we begin these?
I'm not gonna say nothing.
Hey, I was just at wait, make sure we get the disclaimer that we get it.
Man, I might have to go ahead and make that a cold open.
Yo, what's happening with what's happening?
Welcome to What's Happening. I'm Brad.
I'm Fred.
It's the show we talk about what's happening. What's happening with you, bro?
And not much. Just been cleaning up my garage, man. For real, trying to get some vehicles worked on, things cleaned out for spring cleaning. Now, get some things situated. I've been chilling, working, I guess.
I feel
So,
it. Same thing, man. Just working and taking care of everything. So, you know this obviously because you're a real person in real life. We're having this conversation with me, but for the listeners, we're recording this the day after Easter, and so I made the Easter dinner in its entirety yesterday.
oh, come out.
Your boy made some biscuits from scratch.
Oh, name it wouldn't have let you come out the can with them, huh? Name it.
Shout out DJ Blue.
Oh, for sure.
I made a ham. I made some greens. I picked them off the vine. I didn't use no glory greens either. You know.
Oh, coming.
You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed them. I accidentally made them a little too spicy for my family, but I enjoyed them. But it was good, man. But yeah, man, I'm tired, man. Been running back and forth, taking care of everything with what we got going on at the house at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Been working, been grinding, putting stuff together, just trying to make it.
COVID.
Say that again.
How your lady doing COVID?
She doing good. She doing good. You know, she was, it mostly just knocked her out. She had mild symptoms, but
I just gotta check on sis. I mean, I know we on the air, but hey, I ain't talked to you since the last time I asked. It was a few days ago. But, hey.
Yeah, we Gucci over here. You know what I'm saying? I had to run point, but it is what it is. So
everybody don't get to see that.
Everybody don't get to see that, but yeah. So we are bringing back a guest this week. So back at the end of December, we dropped our best holiday food, best party food episode, and we had our longtime friend and baby sister. We call her Rookieswag, and she don't like to be called Rookieswag, even though we'd have known her for it's been 10 years at this point. But you gonna always be Rookieswag forever.
Always.
So Ashley Tatum is back with us. How you doing, Ash?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. So
how's Easter?
Easter was good. Yeah,
Fred. Well, you already explained your Easter.
That's true.
Fred, how was your Easter?
Well, my Easter was kind of different because we really didn't celebrate Easter, only because y'all know it's always a birthday in my house. So my daughter turned 5 yesterday on Easter.
Oh.
So
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We was celebrating a birthday on Easter, you know what I'm saying, for the little one. running it up for her. So, hey,
Hey,
a different
question I never thought of. There's 9 of y'all in the house, and it's 12 months in a year. What months do y'all not have a birthday in?
January, May, July, August, December.
So it's a lot of them doubled up.
We have 2 doubled up. Simone and Rena is in February, and then Lonnie and Taraya is in September.
All right.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, you kind of glad, but you ain't, because it's a rough ass month. You know what I'm saying? Already with any other month that includes a birthday, so when you got to double it up, that's a little rough.
Yeah, man, it get rough for me in the summer because we got the oldest in June, and then we got I never say my kid's name on the show. I got too many to be not name them. We got Nadia in June. We got Parker in July. We got Kaylin in August, and then we got Jackson in September. Then we get a little break, and then here come Criminal. You know what I'm saying? I'm in June too. We don't even worry about it. Stephanie in December. We don't even worry about it.
I bet she got to take Christmas. You got to take Father's Day. Call it what it is. Gonna get you a card and a cookie.
Look,
I'm struggling right now. I'm back to back. You got Isaiah in April.
Yeah, April 1st. No, April
1st.
Nope.
Yep,
right.
You're right.
April 1st.
And then Miles, he turns 1 May 3rd.
Ooh.
And then we got that big gap. So we got Ella in August. Yeah. But then my birthday's in September.
Nope. Sorry, not gonna be able to do
it. Sorry, Steve.
And then Steve's in February.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I'm broke. I'm tired.
I get a little lucky with Marge's birthday because her birthday's on Veterans Day every year. So restaurants is packed out. She really want to sit and wait to go eat. It's kind of fucked up. But you know what I'm saying.
But do you cook for her?
Wait.
I mean, I can if she wants to, but
I can see Marge being petty, being like, "Hey, no disrespect, but like, what about my service? This is my birthday. Thank me for my service. I gave you all these kids." I can hear my sister saying that right now.
And she really would, but it's really a hard day for me, and kids. But it's really a hard day because my dad is a veteran. So he calls me every day forgetting that, you know what I'm saying, that's my lady's birthday. Every Veterans Day he's calling like, hey, come ride the bikes with me and the vets. You know what I'm saying? I just want my son to ride with me. And I'm like, can't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fucked up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta spend that day with her. So we either gotta get our nails done or whatever, you know what I'm saying? However we gotta go. Generally I'm probably gonna cook at home and we, you know what I'm saying, the kids get her a gift or whatnot, but sure. It's a little hard to definitely go out to eat or really do a whole lot for that part because, you know, the vets, you know, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for your service. You know what I'm saying? But that's their day. And she falls on their day, you know what I'm saying? And I've never asked her, but I'm just waiting on her to just be like, hey, I want to just celebrate my birthday like the day after or something, you know what I mean? But she ain't never asked for it, so I'm not going to be the one to be like, hey, why don't we just, you know, push your birthday a day later because, you know, it's a hard day to do anything. One day I'm going to plan ahead like Will Smith, you know, 3 years in advance to see if it works for me, but...
Well, listen, you know, the funny part about us all being friends and knowing each other for so long is that we are so far off topic. I had the perfect segue and then we just kept going. So I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. Ashley talked about, you know, her kids, and she talked about Ella. And so the reason why we have Ashley back here is because April is Autism Awareness Month. Am I saying that correctly? It's not called anything else, just Autism Awareness Month. because I had never heard of that until, at the beginning of the month when I started noticing you were sharing a lot about it. And not only did I not know that April was Autism Awareness Month, or at least it just wasn't something I remembered, I didn't know that Ella had autism. So we brought Ashley back to talk about, what's that's like, having to raise a child with autism. What's it like to go through understanding, hey, what's happening here, and what it's like, being that mom, being that parent in that situation. So that is why Ashley's back. We're not here to talk about food this time. We're here to,
It might come up though.
It might come up.
It's gonna come up.
So I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, I've never really heard about autism before Ella was born. Like, we'd hear it every now and then, but like I never really, I guess, done enough research on it. It wasn't like a big topic, until we go to the doctor and they say, well, she might have autism. And I'm like, what? What's that? I've heard it in movies, Rain Man, stuff like that. I've heard of that, but like nothing really in depth, So, Ella's turning 3. So I don't know. It's hard to describe autism because it's truly a spectrum. There's no one kid that's the same as the other, with autism. One can have one thing, one can have another. And what a lot of people don't know is it's a neurological disorder, and it's a developmental disorder. So we're talking about, people, children, adults, with like developmental delays. Ella is your normal 2-year-old, who doesn't know what a terrible 2 is? Okay. And every day I'm like, man, I got to go through this again because the baby's just about to turn 1. So here we go again. But anyways, so she's just a normal 2-year-old. She just can't speak. So they call her nonverbal, and it's honestly kind of hard when I got the diagnosis because automatically I'm thinking, well, because of this diagnosis, people are now going to treat my baby different. And I think that's the hardest part of the whole thing. It's not necessarily dealing with it. It's just knowing that because of the diagnosis, people are going to treat my child different, throughout her whole life. And that's really the hardest part about it. I mean, we go through the normal 2-year-old stuff. Like I said, the only difference is she can't tell me verbally what's wrong. She can't say something's not right, Mom. She can't say, hey, I'm hungry, but she can still communicate that with me. She understands how to communicate it. So that's one thing I hate about the whole nonverbal label to it, because they just think that she can't talk to us, but that's what sign language is for. Think about how babies communicate with us. They cry when they need something, right? And you can always tell depending on what kind of cry, what they need, plus extra cues and gestures, right? It's the same with her. You know, she can still communicate with us, and I think that's another one of the hardest things about it too. But honestly, other than that, like, she's a kid. She's a normal kid. I hate the word normal, but she's just a normal kid. And the whole point of autism awareness is just to get people to understand that it is a disability. At times it can definitely be a disability. And no, you can't just look at someone and say, hey, they have autism. But it's there. People need to understand what it is. You know, people need to understand how to get it diagnosed. And just accept that they're normal people. Just like you and me. It's just some can't do some things and some can do better things, you know? And I think that's I mean, other than that, I think that's really all it is to it. I mean, I love that it's becoming like, I don't want to say like a trend and stuff, because like there's more people, there's like even adults still getting diagnosed with autism. You know, the little signs that people are catching, like communication problems. You know, people make fun of other people because they don't understand how to communicate and connect with people, and not realizing that they could have autism. And again, that's another reason why that they got Autism Awareness Month going on, is to bring awareness to people that this I mean, it's not necessarily, I hate to even call it a disability, but you know, it's not like, you know, I have to explain to people all the time that my child isn't rude because she's not talking. She just can't talk. And when I say that, people look at you and just kind of like judge you like it's my fault. As a parent, that's really hard. You know, and I can't do anything about that, you know? But, you know, I'm still learning about it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so I know I've never had this conversation with you guys, and you know, obviously not even in like a public format, but there was a period a couple years ago where, you know, we were thinking that Parker may be autistic. And we were going through the process of getting him screened for it and everything. And, you know, ultimately it came down to he was not diagnosed with autism, but just that he had some, you know, some pretty severe anxiety. I mean, but a lot of the whole things, like, you know, struggling to communicate, you know, not being comfortable in certain settings, things of that nature. It seemed that way. And we were kind of sure, just from just kind of our own basic like research and looking into it, we were kind of like, okay, this is the path that we're walking down. We're just getting ready to walk down this path. And you know, it ended up not being that. But the point for what you're saying is like, he won't communicate or she won't communicate, and you can't make her, you know. You know, Parker gets that way where he freezes up in certain scenarios. And again, he doesn't have autism. You know, one thing that, you know, that we started to do in my household is we pray every night before bed. And, you know, it started off with repeat after daddy, right? Yeah, I say a line, you say it. I say a line, you say it, right? It then grew into, hey, tell me what you guys thank God for. And everybody has their thing that they thank God for. And Parker's line is just so funny. Every night it's I thank God for my mommy and my daddy and my family, and that's all. That's what he says every single night. And now, like, where it's growing is I'll say, hey, like, you guys want to be the leader. And what happens is that, like, this had been happening for a long time, but I'll like whisper in the ear, they'd be like, dear God, and then the rest of them repeat. So it's like I'm whispering in their ear, and then it goes from there. And what I've really transitioned to over the last few months is, hey, you be the leader, right? And I tell all that building story to get to the part where with Parker, and when I say Parker, you be the leader, he the first time I asked him to do it, he just froze. He just could not do it. And this is my wife works overnight, so this is me, his brother, and his sister that lives here. The oldest does not live here, so it's the same people that he spends every night with, every night of his life, and he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it.
Oh, right? I totally feel that.
And so, like, I'm just like, it's okay, buddy. We'll just wait for you. It's all good. No pressure. Don't worry about it. Understanding that, like, he has that anxiety, and that with him, I have to have a little bit more patience and give a little bit of an extra encouragement that's different from my other children. And turns out he was just like freaking out because and I shouldn't say freaking out, but he was just like, he just kept stopping because he kept wanting to start his prayer with I thank God for, instead of starting with dear God, the way that I taught them to start a prayer. And he was just like, he was getting upset with himself, like, I'm doing this wrong. The pressure's on. And it just took me saying, hey, it's okay. You can pray to God however you want to pray to God. Right. So all of that said to say is like, when people don't have that understanding, that's when the judgments begin to come in. And it does start from even the point of being a 2 or 3 year old child in Ella's case.
Definitely. And it's funny that you brought that up, because I completely relate with him with the anxiety, because I'm in my 30s now. Oh my God. Woo! That hurt to say it.
That hurts me to hear it.
That hurt. But I'm in my 30s and I'm still like that. Like, I still get stuck. Like, even when I come on here, like, I know I'm with y'all, but like, it's in my head, you're just like, oh man, like, here we go. Here go the lights. The camera's rolling. Oh God. And like, I completely feel him. You just freeze. But that's how I've always been, just like that, since I've been little. And it's so hard to see in kids. And I'm so glad to hear that you're giving him, or you have that much patience, because to even know that someone has that much patience for you means a lot. And that's going to mean so much for him.
And I don't want to seem like I'm like the heroic super dad. It took me some time to realize that, like, I needed to be better, right? A few episodes back, I think we talked about when we had our fatherhood episode. So it wasn't a few, but when we had our fatherhood episode, we talked about, or I talked about how with Jackson and with Kaylin, my relationship is significantly better with those two children versus with Parker and with Nadia. Nadia is the oldest child that lives in a separate house. Parker is the youngest boy. I didn't use names in that one, right? Part of that, like, me growing and realizing like what I've done wrong, is he's different. Not better, not worse. He responds to things differently than the other children do. So And I think in that episode, I mentioned how like I'm consciously like trying to work towards having individual one-on-one relationship or grow the individual one-on-one relationships with each child, is because that's me understanding, okay, he needs something different from me than what Jackson needs. He needs something different than what Nadia needs, so on and so forth. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm like this. If you guys got the impression that I'm some sort of, for the listeners,
no, not at all. No, I
if the
was
listeners got some
just
sort of impression that I'm like this super dad and super understanding. Nah, I be struggling, and I'm looking to get better.
But every parent struggles, and that's okay. Like, no one's perfect, but I was just saying, like, the patience is the key. Like, so both Ella and Isaiah have to go to a neurologist every 3 months. Isaiah was diagnosed with ADD, and Ella with her autism, and she also has ADHD. So fun in a 2-year-old, by the way.
Golly.
Yeah, my house stay lit 24/7.
24/7.
I can get my kids to bed every night at 9 o'clock though, and they sleep throughout the night, so I'm cool. So
for sure,
I got this handled. But no, so we take them to a neurologist, and the neurologist says that because they both had their appointments at the same time. That's really fun in a really small room with 2 hyperactive kids bouncing off the walls, okay? With a 1-year-old in your lap. Don't do it. Won't recommend.
0 stars.
But he says that patience is everything. Like, you just have to learn. So ultimately, Ella pretty much taught me patience for my 9-year-old. Okay. Like, I don't know, it kind of worked backwards for me. Like, I was like, okay, hold on, let me slow things down. I had Ella, and that's when I started to slow things down. I had to slow down me, and I had to pay attention to each child individually, like you said, because each one is different. Each one needs something different. And Ella taught me to slow down, pay attention, have some patience, because there's just things that she's going to do that she can't help. But that's any kid, that's any person. But she has a little bit extra that she literally cannot help. And she's dependent on me to be patient, slow it down, and make sure I pay attention to each one individually, because each one's going to need something different, like you said. And that patience was everything. And he's just like, I'm shocked you're so patient. I'm like,
what choice you got?
I can't be anything else. I was like, ain't nothing else gonna help the situation. I was like, me bouncing off the walls with him ain't gonna help the situation. So, hey, listen to your kids. You gotta listen to each one individually.
So look, the reason I feel Ella gave you the patience and the reason you feel like it was backwards is because you didn't know. We even went to school with kids with ADD, ADHD, and they normal, but they, you know what I mean? They're a little wild, but they normal, you know what I mean? They just, some of the more energetic kids are the ones that can't sit still. You just like, all right, so it's normal. You know what I mean? So to you, you know what I mean? You didn't have to slow down with him because you've interacted with people like him every day. You know what I mean? So when you got Ella and, you know what I'm saying, it's autism and you have to slow it down and have to learn a different thing. I tell my parents all the time, what each kid need from me, from, you know what I'm saying, the same parent, it'll never be the same. what you do for me to help me, it never, you know what I'm saying, work for my brother. It'll never be the case. You know what I'm saying? Because we're always going to be at different points in life. We're always going to need different things when we get to those points in life. And you never can play cookie cutter, you know what I'm saying, with us as people, but as well as kids.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure, you know, I haven't shared this, but do me one favor, Rookie, and you know what I'm saying, when you say, you know what I'm saying, well, like she can't talk, just I would prefer if you referred to it as, you know what I'm saying, she just ain't speaking right now.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
and the only reason I say that is because I grew up in an era where you feel like autism is still, you know what I'm saying, need awareness and is, you know what I'm saying, kind of like a lot of people don't understand or is unaware of it. My little brother's autistic. You know what I mean? I don't know if I ever shared that with either one of you. Like you said, we go way back, but I don't think I have. Growing up, you know what I'm saying, I had to think differently, act differently. You know what I'm saying? I seen things differently. I think, you know what I'm saying, like a lot of my fear, and I used to tell my friends and them in high school, like, listen, I got a brother that's autistic. The way I see y'all, you know what I'm saying, interact and deal with, you know what I'm saying, some of, you know what I'm saying, the mentally challenged kids. If it's my sibling, I'm telling you now, we're going to have some issues. I don't give a damn whose sibling it is, who family is coming about mine.
Yep.
It's going to be an issue. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how cruel, you know what I'm saying, kids was. But one thing I can say, we talk about these kids nowadays in the school setting, when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, the mentally handicapped and whatnot, they ain't as cruel as what they used to be back in our days. They actually interact and you know, do with them and keep them involved, you know what I'm saying, for the ones that's like that in school. And I'm thankful
Absolutely.
for that, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it helps out. But with my brother, he all the way up, because it's crazy, you know, you said she was 2.
Mm-hmm.
Before my brother turned 2, right after, my brother knew his ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, he counted 10. And it was like, right after he turned 2, somebody hit him with the Men in Black brainwash thing, and he just forgot it all.
Just stop.
It's just everything went out the window, and we couldn't figure out why. And we in an era where this ain't really prevalent, you know what I'm saying? Like not a lot of people's diagnosed with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Me and my brother 8 years apart. I'm born in 88. He born in 96. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't a lot of people that was hip to this. And for me, being an 8-year-old kid, and the only thing I ever wanted was a sibling, to get my brother who, you know what I'm saying, later we find out is autistic. It's a different way of interacting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I couldn't communicate with him. He would sit there and hum to block everything out, you know what I'm saying, to be able to just be by himself. Now he can talk and interact. He got a job. At one point, he was working 2 to 3 jobs, you know what I'm saying? He doing his thing, but at the same time, he can't, you know, drive. But I got friends here where I stay at in Kentucky whose kid is autistic and he can work and drive. You know what I'm saying? So I say it to say that it's way more hope at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? Just work with your baby and keep interacting.
Oh,
Keep
absolutely.
Doing, you know what I mean? Because that's what builds it. One thing, my mom has worked with the mentally challenged all her life. You know what I'm saying? So one thing, when she sat in a seminar and they were learning about autism, you know, and it meant more to my mom, of course, because she has a son that's autistic. And you know, the way they categorized it and broke it down is kids that's autistic is truly smarter than the average human being.
Yep.
the way their brain works is just different. So what happens is their brain works in a chronological order, almost like a computer or a laptop. You know how if you put something in, it already alphabetize it from 1 to 3, you know what I'm saying, 1 to 10, it categorizes any and everything you put in. You know what I'm saying? It's in a set location, set, no matter what, if you're looking for something on a computer, if you got the right, you know what I'm saying, data, you can pinpoint straight to it. And that's exactly how, you know what I'm saying, someone who autistic is. So for my brother, for instance, you know what I'm saying, to make it relate and make sense, for him, he don't like things to change.
Yep.
He's used to a certain system, a certain way. So of course, we know when we go in stores, from time to time, planograms change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that fucks with him.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because if he's used to walking in and he's used to going to aisle, you know what I'm saying, G, you know what I'm saying, 14, and there's yogurt there, and he goes there today and there's chips because they've rearranged the store or the planogram. Now, you know what I'm saying, he's lost, he's confused. He started reacting differently because things is unfamiliar anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things is with familiarity. You know what I'm saying? Who they're comfortable with, what they're comfortable with, the things they're comfortable with because of the system that they built. You know, the routine that they built. Some things will work like clockwork. Like if you tell my brother you need to be here at 3 o'clock, he knows he ain't driving. So whoever's giving him a ride, by 2 o'clock, he say, hey, I'm getting ready. 2:15, hey, I'm ready. If 2:20 come, hey, remember I gotta be there at 3. We should be going. He gonna let you know I'm not trying to be late.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's gonna keep you on a schedule because that's the way it's designed. So, you know, I say that to say, you know, you're right, everybody should know about autism, you know, and the different spectrums. I had a brother that was ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
He was talented. He could draw. He could rap, sing, you know what I'm saying, play ball. Talented. But he was destructive. He just little stuff. I had a Michael Jordan Olympic basketball card and a plaque with Michael Jordan name on it. And he pulls the card out and signs Michael Jordan's signature. I'm like, I'm telling you, that's exactly his signature. Bruh, you just destroyed, you know what I'm saying, my stuff. Like,
Right.
for what? like you can't do Michael's signature. Ain't nobody dumb, you know what I'm saying? He got posters on his walls, and when he bored, he colored all the eyes in. Just little stuff. It didn't mean nothing. But at the same time, if you told him, say, hey, I need you to go, you know what I'm saying, grab something out the deep freezer. Then after that, I need you to clean your room, you know what I'm saying, and do the dishes. He's going to forget 1 to 2 out of the 3. It's a guarantee. He just can't.
Yep.
For him, he can't keep it in his head. You know what I'm saying? It
Yep.
just, you know what I'm saying, squirrel brain, I guess you want to say.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like nothing was wrong. We took him to special classes. Like I used to watch, they have him on like a computer, and he would have to get like the fish to swim to one side. And it had to use, you know what I'm saying, with him using his brain, but at the same time using the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And it would show where his focus was at if he could, you know what I'm saying, multitask the two to get it to swim across. And a lot of times he can't get it to swim across, and he's struggling because his brain is jumping to different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, my mom knew, like, okay, she couldn't treat us all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, she was like, Fred, hey, go do this, this, and this. I'm like, all right. She was like, hey, go do this. And then when you're done with that, come back to me. That way, it should take you about this amount of time. If you ain't came back around about this time, hey, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Because she's doing other things herself, you know what I'm saying, cooking, whatever. So she don't got time to just sit there and babysit us. But at the same time, she still got to make sure we're on task or we doing what she needed us to get done.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she would literally give him instructions, one instruction at a time, and have him check back. Just so he could stay on task. When it came to schoolwork and stuff, when he'd be in school, you know what I'm saying? She would tell the teacher, like, hey, he can't take all this at once. You know, you got to kind of, if you're going to hand out 3 sheets of paper, just give him one. You know what I mean? But that's what worked for him. You know what I'm saying? That's what he needed to be able to focus. So if he had 3 sheets, he going to color and doodle on one, halfway do the work on the other. Like, it just, it's never going to work out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is, you know, and I feel you on that subject where you use, like, you know, how you feel like other people look at your daughter, or, you know what I'm saying, feel like because she can't speak, it's on you. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that, you know what I'm saying, it's a blame to you, you know what I'm saying, because whether people generally know the disability or the, you know what I'm saying, mentality, then at the same time, they, once you explain or say something, they're kind of like, okay, you know, leave it alone. I think it's more on people like us who have to deal with it on a daily basis, just wanting our kid to be accepted more so. Our sibling to be accepted, you know. It is because, you know, I've watched my mom cry for many different scenarios, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend, you know, and one of her biggest scenarios is the fact that after she gone, who going to take care of him like she did?
That's my biggest worry.
You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to situations like it, you know, and don't get me wrong, my mama got my brother prepared to where in a scenario of he can upkeep his own, you know what I'm saying, cook for himself to, you know what I'm saying, survive and wash himself, you know what I'm saying. If he's supposed to be somewhere, he knows he got to take medicine. You know what I mean? He know how to do the necessities to live. But it's still the factor of he likes to go see basketball games. He likes to watch the football game. He got to move out the comfort of his house that they left him because nobody's willing to stay or check on him and make sure. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that come into play with that. One of the biggest things for me was when I dated a girl, like I tell her, hey, listen, I got a brother with autism. If you can't deal with the fact that I might have to take care of him, or he might have to move in, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever the situation may be, I might be taking care of my mama and my brother at the same time. You need to go now.
Before we get started.
ain't no point. Shorty, I like you, but I don't like you that much. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I know I might be asking a lot on the first day, but you know what? I'd rather know now than later. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that put the perspective on the table for a motherfucker. Like, well, listen, I don't know if I was in it that deep just yet.
You know what's funny is you mentioned a few minutes ago, Fred, you said that, you know, just wanting him to be, mom just wanting your brother to be accepted. And then Ashley, you mentioned at the beginning how, you know, people, you know, once you get that label, so to speak, how people might treat Ella differently. And so it makes me think back to, I remember there was a point we were living we're just living in this house in Detroit, and there was a kid who lived across the street from me. It was me and my sister in the house, and then the house across the street had 3 kids that lived in it, and then the house immediately to the left had 2 kids in it. All of us, we moved into that house in the summer. All of us would play together. Might be in my front yard, might be in my neighbor's backyard. We had like this huge front yard. The neighbor had a huge backyard. We played with the one kid that lived a few houses down the street. We played across the street, whatever. We all played together, right? Mm-hmm. But then, as it turns out, when school started, and I never thought about this like this until literally now, having this conversation. When school started, he was, and forgive me, I'm just going to use the language that was used because we didn't know better. I'm 9 years old at the time, and this is the language that was used in the communities that we lived in. He was retarded. Mm-hmm. Right? So, retarded meant that he got a ride to school in that short yellow bus, whereas the rest of us walked to school because we were normal. Right? But what would happen is that that bus would come by, and I'm literally just thinking about this in the moment in real time as we're recording. That bus would come by, and he would just wave the bus off and walk with us to school. But he was in a whole separate class. And so, like, to me, he was just this kid that lived across the street that was cool. We ended up only living in this house for 1 year. He was a kid that lived across the street that was cool. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever. Never treated him differently. But it was like, I hung out with this kid for 2 or 3 months from whenever the point we moved into that house until school started. Because, like I said, we moved in the summer. Hung out with this kid almost every day. It was cool. It was all good. It was fun. But then it was when we got to school, he was the slow kid, and that forever sat in the back of my head. Now, I still hung out with the kid, whatever. Like, it didn't matter to me at all. Like,
right.
He was already my friend. It was already cool. But, like, I mean, and his younger brother and younger sister hung out with my younger sister. We all watched Power Rangers together, whatever. The girl that lived next door, I think her name was Chantel, if I remember that correctly. She had a Halloween party. Her mama let her have a Halloween party, and we all was at their house in the house for the Halloween party. And like, so the point that I'm making is that, or I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that when you're a kid, you don't know better. Like, you just see another kid, and you're just trying to kick.
Right.
It is what it is. It's cool. My 6-year-old son that has this high level of anxiety, him and his 8-year-old brother, best friends. They don't know nothing about, like, whatever. They understand each other, and they kick it with each other all day, every day, because they're best friends and they're brothers. And it's not until the world comes out and puts these labels, and then we try to simplify things as well. And like, I think about that now in retrospect, where we used to call kids retarded, and then eventually we realized that the term retarded was a little harsh,
right? And
we would just call it slow, right?
Well, you're not the only one. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you kept saying it, and I was gonna wait and say something, but it's crazy because it's not just we as kids who thought about the word retarded. My mom used to work for a company called MMRD, and the R standard for retardation. And they end up changing it after like 10, 11 years of working there. I think it was MMM, you know what I'm saying, D, or basically they took the R out and made it like mentally handicapped or mentally challenged, you know, and that's how they changed it. But it was a worldwide thing. It wasn't just kids making fun or using that word. This was something that was used in organizations, companies, even across trainings.
Wow.
That was the reference. It wasn't like it was just something that, was a joke. The word was actually the reference. and it's crazy to think about it. But that's why I said, you know, I grew up in a time before autism and different spectrums was really, you know what I'm saying, had light or showed anything. You know, I watched because my brother plays in it, and you would see it in commercials like in Jersey Mike's and whatnot. But it's basically athletics for the mentally challenged. I can't even think.
Special Olympics.
Special Olympics. I watched that grow. You know what I'm saying? I was in high school when they first came out with that in our area, doing that, and it was just really just baseball games. And it went from baseball games, you know, they would make it either T-ball, or if the you know, kid could actually swing the bat and hit a ball that was thrown, they would throw it and make it, you know what I'm saying, like actual baseball. But it was the dopest thing out. You know what I mean? Like, I kid you not. I would go on Sundays, watch my brother, you know what I'm saying, and all their friends, and it was dope. You know what I'm saying? Just to be there and watch it and cheer them on and watch them have a blast and see the smiles on their face was priceless.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And to watch how big it is today and across the nation is even, you know what I'm saying, better. You know, it was, hell, I would say maybe about 7 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, probably 8. Our my alma mater made it to the state championship for basketball. Well, not only did they make it to the state championship, the local Catholic school made it to the state championship. Not only did they make it to the championship, but our Special Olympics from our county made it to the state championship. And we literally, like, it was a big deal across the city, you know what I'm saying, boosted it up. Everybody went and supported from the Special Olympics all the way down to the Division I state school for each one of them games. And that was just a dope aspect to witness and watch, you know what I'm saying, from different side. Like, I've always been on, you know what I'm saying, this side. My mom has worked with mentally challenged all my life. She can't stand, you know what I'm saying, the retard word. Like, she snaps out about that the same way she do about, you know, crackhead and anything like that, because she always said to me, one of her famous things is that somebody's brother, mother, sister, auntie, cousin, uncle, and you don't know who you offended when you're using words like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashley, you what happened, you know, what was happening that, or you said you went to the doctor and the doctor said, you know, your baby might have autism. How did you feel in that moment in real time?
I was kind of confused, like, kind of like what I said earlier. Like, I never really heard about it. Like, I've heard it kind of like throughout the years, maybe once or twice, but like never in depth or anything like that. Like, and I just kind of sat there and I'm like, well, okay, what does that mean? Like, she gonna live? That's all I care about, you know. Like,
that's parents' number one
like,
go-to.
like she gonna be alive though, right? And I was like, all right, well, I mean, she reassured me that they have tons of things these days to help children with autism, which was amazing relief. Like, I'm like, hey, for me, is as long as I know that we understand and know what you have and we can help you, I'm fine. Like, as long as I got a healthy kid, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Let's do what we need to do. Let's get her into therapy. Let's start early intervention. Let's do this. And she was diagnosed at 18 months old.
Wow.
You know, before she hit 2, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And
It's came a long way.
And what helped us get a diagnosis was my own issues. Basically, with me being so like hyper aware and my attention to detail, I just sit there and just watch my kids. Like I literally just observed them. And then I picked up that she wasn't making eye contact all of a sudden. She stopped responding to her name. You know, she just like, I mean, kind of like you said, Fred, like with your brother, like she was responding to like us saying baba and stuff like that. She was babbling, forming those first words, and then it just stopped. Like something happened and she just stopped. And it's almost like we stopped all the way back before she even hit 18 months. It was like it stopped and went in reverse. Like she went back to like a 9-month-old, like a 10-month-old. So now, I mean, it just as far as communication goes, I want to say, not everything, because the girl was walking by 10 months. You know, she was climbing stairs before she even hit one. She was able to walk downstairs before she even hit one by herself. The girl knows
down the stairs.
Walk down the stairs.
That's a wild concept.
I mean, she's turning 3 in August, but we have like one of those hammock swings in her room that hang from the ceiling. And because she has what they call vestibular input, she has to constantly be moving. She needs to move her head. She needs to move pretty much everything. Like her body's just constantly telling her, you gotta move, you gotta move, you gotta move to feel satisfied. Like to just have all her sensory needs met, she has to keep moving. So we got this swing in her room. Man, when I tell you, like, she's like a natural like gymnast and acrobat. Like this girl, I gotta show y'all videos and stuff of it, but like she can make herself spin like a ballerina, and she'll keep spinning on her tiptoes in the swing. She just gets the momentum, and she like actually moves her body and forms her body to make herself go faster. And you just see her in a room. She's just going in a circle, just like this. She doesn't get dizzy. And that's like the best thing in the world for her. That's her decompression right there. And like that's when she's like the happiest kid in the world. And like just to see the smile and like hear that belly laugh, that like genuine belly laugh come out of her, man, that's the best feeling in the world. Oh, it's awesome. But like, yeah, I mean,
your face.
Yeah,
man. I be laughing like crazy when I see it. I love it. Between her and Isaiah, man, there's some pretty good kids. I love my kids. I'll tell you that. They're each individually their own special little thing, and I love it. But no, I mean, going back to the original question, once she told me that there's therapy, that there's help, that there's ways to get treatment and she'll be all right. I'm like, we're fine. It's fine. I was relieved. I'm like, all right. I mean, like through the whole process, yeah, it's a struggle. You get some little road bumps here and there. But I mean, that's life with a 2-year-old too, so I mean I wouldn't say that I'm worried about her at this point because I know that there's plenty of help out there. But everyone just has to know how to use the resources the right way to find all this help. there's people out there that haven't even gotten their kids into therapy and they're like 8, and therapy can help them so much, from communication to behavioral, everything, and that's like the most important thing about this awareness, like most important thing, because there's so many people out there either undiagnosed or even ones who are diagnosed and they don't even know what they're doing. I could only imagine what I would be doing right now if pediatrician hadn't told me, look, there's like therapies for this. You can do this, this, and this at home. You're good. You're straight. Treat her like a normal kid. Like, I'm good.
You say you don't know what you would do had the doctor not told you that. Yeah, and I just think that if this were 30 years ago, just a bad kid.
Yep. I was thinking the exact same thing, because once I realized, like, after she was diagnosed, I would sit down and I would go back and sit and think, and like all these, working in retail, you see some kids, okay? And then I sat there and I'm just like, I wonder how many of those kids I seen who I thought were acting up, and they just had something going on that they couldn't help, And I'm just like, dang. I was like, well, I'm humbled now. Like, I was like, it definitely, it definitely makes you, I don't know what I want to say, grow up, I guess. It makes you
It's not growing up. You're
respect
enlightened.
people.
You're gonna respect people, but I think you're just enlightened. You know what I mean? Like really, you know what I'm saying? You're dumb to the fact what you don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's just what it is. And growing up in our area, if you like you say, 30, I'm 33, bro, the elder. But
you feeling it?
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it, we grew up and went through school with kids that has never been diagnosed.
For sure.
These kids are raising kids undiagnosed. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So when you think of, a situation like that, or an era like that where it was before its time, and like you saying, your daughter was diagnosed at 18 months, that's dope, because
yes.
When my brother went through, they was unsure, and he was, definitely 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The situation happened when he was right after 2. He wasn't diagnosed until he was like 3. They didn't have all what they got now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
it was a lot more trial and error. So when you look at it, from where it started to where it came, it's a blessing. The help that you got, the the different resources that you have is amazing. If you think about just some of the people you went to school with that could have had just half the resources.
Absolutely.
The difference it would have made, the times that kids got, canceled out because they're just a misfit. They're not gonna be, when really it was just, if we got them a little bit of help, they'd have been everything, you know what I'm saying, they could have possibly been. Because like you said, there's different levels to it, there's different scales to it,
Definitely.
And I'm not gonna say it's all figured out. Autism's one thing about autism is you can literally have from one end to another. Like, there's so much in between there that's not been figured out and whatnot, but thankful for what has been.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely would say, it's not that I don't want to say we was judging folks, you know what I'm saying, but we didn't know.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
like you said, when they told you with your daughter, you said, "What's that?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And how can you say, you know what I'm saying, you know, you was judging somebody else when you just didn't know? And the people that was over them may not know either.
Right.
Because when you got a kid like that, you don't know how to handle them, how to treat them, how to go about it. Sometimes you just be like, hey, I'm just, hey, this is
You just
Miles
learn
right
as
here.
you go.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You're like,
it's all learn as you go. I'm like, all right.
It's a good day
unpredictable.
today. And today is a rough one, you know what I mean? But if I was to ask you anything, you know what I'm saying, I would want to know, you know, now that you do know, what is it that you would, you know, share with everybody that, you know, would help maybe say, hey, if you're unsure or you don't know, what would be some signs that say, hey, go get tested? You know what I mean? Like, because there might be some parents that hear this and have a kid that they like, look, I've been dealing with this, that, and third. And no matter what, you know, the teachers at school, because matter of fact, I'm glad I just said that, because my daughter, she probably has a light sign of ADHD or something to that nature. But she was in 3rd grade. I'm talking showing out. The school sending me pictures. She under her desk playing with pencils, and you know what I'm saying? They telling her to get back up and do her work. She's like refusing. But at home, she's not like this. She don't do none of this stuff. She don't act out like this. Like, something's not adding up.
Right.
So we wanted to get her tested. And I kid you not, the teacher told us, because to get her tested here in Kentucky, the teachers have to fill out, you know, a packet, and you have to take it back to your doctor, and then your doctor put in the order for the test. But basically, if the teachers don't feel that your child needs to be tested, you're not going to get the help you need.
Right.
And the teacher specifically told me, I said, hey, listen, my lady said she sent in the packets and we need y'all to fill them out so we can see what's going on, because me coming in, at the time I was working for Coca-Cola and I'm driving a semi, and I'm pulling in my Coca-Cola rig, hopping out, going to, you know what I'm saying, basically chastise my daughter at the school, like, hey, you can't be showing out, acting out, because these folks calling me, I'm on my job, but yet they wouldn't let me get the help that I need. I'm like, I need you to fill out the packet. And the lady told me flat out, well, my son has been diagnosed with ADHD and I don't like the medicine they give him, so I don't want to fill it out.
Wow.
I said, well, you know, ma'am, my mom.
What they got to do with me?
Yeah, you know, well, that, but my mom's worked with, you know, mentally challenged all my life and stuff. So at this point, you know, if a whooping ain't work, punishment ain't work, taking, you know what I'm saying, some of their favorite items and toys back didn't work, I'm out of options. I'm not finna just beat my child and I can't get help, you know what I'm saying, to figure out what's going on with my child. I'm not finna just keep taking stuff from them and screaming and yelling and, you know what I'm saying, put them on punishment for weeks and months at a time. But yet they still doing the same stuff when they go back to school. That ain't working.
Right.
I need help. But how is it you gonna tell me that because you don't like the help they gave your child, or that you let them give your child, you won't let me seek the help I need for my child?
Right.
That sounds like a lawsuit and a half to me, brother.
Right. I was about to say,
hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't understand, you know, lawsuits and that type of stuff at that time. So I did what I felt was best for my child, and I removed it from the school and I sent it to an entire different state, you know what I'm saying, with her grandmother. And I knew that state would seek out some help. you know what I'm saying, if it was asked, because I know of a few children that they dealt with, you know what I'm saying, they self. You know what I mean? And so that's what I did. I felt like that was the best option for my child. And for 2 years, my child lived with grandma. I got her for all the holidays we could. We went to what we could, recitals, whatnot, if we can make it down there for those. You know, we did what we could. But I felt like that was best. It got her the help. And I can tell you what, I got her back, you know, 5th grade year. It was rocky, but it wasn't nowhere near to what we came out of. And we sent her to a different school. 6th grade year this year, she an AB honor roll student.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So the help, you know what I'm saying, and the consistency and whatnot of just going through the process, putting her in a different school that challenged her and actually monitored and cared about it. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole difference was, you know, they figured out, you know, my daughter had some type of reading deficiencies, and the thing was that they read it to her, she understood it. If she had to read it herself, you know what I'm saying, for some reason it didn't register the same.
Yeah.
Whether she did it out loud to herself. So, you know what I'm saying, they had to modify some certain things, but it kind of helped her. They got her reading level up, they got her math level up, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like they was just doing it for her, because she comes back now and she reads just on her own. I'm talking about just knock down books like no tomorrow. And she just stays up on, you know, little things that she learned from when she was down there. So I was like, it had to be worth it. But for another teacher to tell me, you know, they're not gonna give me the help. So what would be things that you would tell another person, you know, hey, go see and just see? Because I mean, it might not be, but still sometimes you might need to check because it might be something else.
Well, I can't speak for everybody. Like you said, it's a spectrum. So what the signs were for Ella were her eye contact. She had 0 eye contact. She went from, you know, what baby doesn't look at you and smile and follow your face everywhere? You know, she went from doing that to no eye contact whatsoever. If she looked at you in your face, she'd turn away, walk away. So eye contact was a big thing for us. And they noticed what they call stimming. Basically, it's like a repetitive movement, or a repetitive, like it could be vocal, it could be like making a sound or making a gesture, movement, anything. You know, it's just repetitive, and it's to basically calm them down, you know, bring them back to normal. So what Ella does, one of her stims is hand flapping. So that was another sign. When she was too anxious or in a new place or too happy, she would just flap her hands back and forth like this. And she'd make like a long E sound, and she would just keep doing it again and again and again. She'd stop, chill out, keep doing it again and again and again. She'd stop for a minute until she was finally just chill and happy. Let's see. For Ella, it was also her communication delay. So, like I said, she went from saying those baby sounds, the babbling, and then just cut off. It was like a switch just cut off, and like communication gone. So she's like I said, she's turning 3 in August. She's still not saying anything yet. Which honestly is a blessing on my part, because have y'all heard a 2-year-old little girl? I'm just saying. I'm living it up over here. I'm like, it's okay, girl. You take your time. I'm like, come back when you like 5. That's fine. But other than that, those were the signs for Ella, and that was at 18 months, like I said. So I follow an autism basically it's like a fundraiser or a charity group basically. Where they're really trying to push to have people know how to spot the signs of autism by 3. And like that's like the ultimate goal because it's there. You just got to pay attention to your kid. Just pay attention to them from the day they come out all the way up. Even now, just pay attention to your kid. And, since it's a spectrum, every sign's going to be different. So, you don't really know. It's all unpredictable, but those are the pretty common signs that they found in Ella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, on top of that, if something don't seem right with your baby, trust your instincts, no matter what.
Question everything.
I mean, and going back to my situation, like I said, my son just has the anxiety, but with me, with my ripping and running, I wasn't necessarily paying attention to the signs, but the wife was just like, I knew he was developing a little, he was coming on a little slower than the others, but it was just like, what's happening here?
And a big part of you wants to say that, I'm sorry, a big part of you just wants to say, like, well, every kid's different. Every kid's different. It's okay. Yeah. But then you still got that worry, like you said, in the back of your head, like.
Yeah. But like I said, it was mostly the wife that was just like, this is not right. And like I said, ultimately, he wasn't diagnosed as autistic, but nonetheless, it was her going for it that got us led in the right direction. That we did learn that it's his anxiety, and it was her going through that made me say, let me step back and let me be a little bit more understanding. And like I said, it's something I'm working on. I'm not by no means a perfect man, by no means a perfect man, a perfect father. None of that.
Nobody is
at all.
Ashley, I appreciate you coming through. This was dope. Appreciate you coming through again, I should say.
Appreciate you having me again.
Where can people find you?
Man, nowhere online anymore. I got kids. I barely check my email. Oh. No, I'm serious. I don't remember my handles or anything anymore. Like, it's been so long.
I'll find your Instagram and I'll put it in there.
Sure. Send it to me too, because I don't know it.
All right.
Appreciate you for stopping by again. I mean, I'm glad you touched on it because it's really an enlightened piece for a lot of people, I believe. You know what I'm saying? That can really learn something from it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, y'all know what to do. Leave us a 5-star review and a rating. 5-star rating and a review. Follow us on our socials. You can find everything in the show notes. Love is a verb. So tell a friend about us. Tell a bunch of friends about us if you like what we do, so we can continue to grow the show. And we will be back next week.
Peace.